Welcome everybody. So um, this is the Blue Sky training for automation testing. But, but for this particular part of the course, we're going to focus on automation testing using Java, Cucumber, and IntelliJ, TestNG, and the likes actually. So that's what we're going to do for a few weeks now from today. So as you can see, it's from the Blue Sky Citadel. So, and quickly, I'll just introduce myself. My name is Deji Ogunlaja. You can check me on LinkedIn. Just put my name, Deji Ogunlaja. I've got over 15 years experience as automation tester, working with different organizations. And if you want quickly, I will just go. So if you want to check my LinkedIn profile, so that is me. So I've worked with different organizations, and can everybody see me? Can you hear me on as well? See my screen quickly. Let me just confirm that. All right, cool. That's fine. Thanks. So yeah, so this is me. So and yeah, I've basically got experience to be able to do this. So and I'll go from there. So yeah, this is myself. So I started my career as a developer. So then chose to do software testing. So but my uh, basic technology stack will be in Java as well as C Sharp. So those are the two areas that I kind of focused on. So, but lately I've already picked up Python, Scala, and as well as Azure Cloud and Databricks. So, but yeah, for this particular course is going to be software testing using Java with Cucumber as our BDD framework. So, yeah, normally when I do this particular training before now, I'll just dig into it and that will be it. So, but right now, I want to quickly, so if you can type or chat, whatever is you want us to focus on, so quickly we can look into that right now. So quickly, so if you have any question thus far or something is not clear, you want us to look into that. So quickly, this particular session for tonight is going to be a lot of interaction because I just want to lay a good foundation of what you're going to expect, what not to expect. So I want it to be more interactive as possible. So one thing I can say also, I had the same issue with Teams. If you cannot type, or if you don't see the chat to be able to type, log out and try to log in using a different profile. Log out from Teams completely, then try to use a different browser actually and log in. Log out and use a different browser to come in, so that you can be able to participate. Is very, very important. So okay, so I'm assuming there's no question, so quickly I'll go with that. So first question that we're going to have, I'm expecting people to have even asked right now is, what exactly is automation testing? And why do I need to have automation testing? So basically, I will take automation testing as a technique, for you to be able to test and compare your actual outcome against your expected outcome. But this is basically similar to what you might have learned before in the other course that you did, which is manual testing or introduction to software testing. Basically, you have your actual outcome that you are and also you compare it with what you are expecting to get. But this time around, this is now achieved by writing test script using an automation tool. So you have to write automation test to be able to do this. So that's why it's kind of automated. So it's no longer manual that someone will basically click. It's going to be the tool that that will aid that particular testing that you're about to do. So, and this allows you to be able to do repetitive tasks and other tasks that are difficult for human being to perform, or which is not easy for you to perform manually. So if you ask me to explain it in a layman language, actually, you have your system under test, which is the application that you are testing, and then you enter the details basically using your automation tool, and then you will compare your actual result with what you're expecting. And after that, you provide a test report. That's basically it. It is not difficult more than that, basically. So now, why do you need to do automation testing? Basically, you consider the investment in time, money, and resources, basically, to actually look at, is it worthwhile doing automation or not? So I would go into the next question. Basically, why do I need to automate? Like I said, okay, hold on, I think. So, okay, so why do I need to automate? Basically, one, you automate to able to, when you want to, we have repetitive tasks, and basically on that, I've explained that one, and also something that is difficult to manage, basically. So that is basically the same thing, actually saying. So the next question, that how do I become automation tester? Like I said, this is going to be a lot of questions, so I'm going to be checking. Okay, there's some questions about, okay, so 1 minute. Okay, all right, cool. So yeah, switching between frame I always cover in this particular course, and as well as using cross browser, actually. Yeah, that will be covered. So when can you use both manual automation to run the course? Yeah. So basically, even before you do automation, actually, I do advise that you have to do manual testing as well. So it's not like you go automation and there will not be any manual. So before then, someone has to check it. So you have to be using both of them at the same time. So it's not going to be okay. Yeah, I've got manual, I've got automation. So then you don't need to worry about about manual. So you would, in most cases, you will first start with automation, with manual. Then after that, for repetition case or for regressions, you will have something that you can actually do or continue to do to use it. Okay, you raised your hand as well. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, cool. So I would go to the slide. Now, for you to become automation tester, what are the things that you need to do? And one thing I know is basically most manual tester would want to become automation tester. It's a dream of every tester, to be honest. Whether you want to, yeah, for manual tester, you want to be able to upskill, and you want to become, yeah, if not, at least you want to know how to do all these things. So it's a dream, to be honest. So, but not a lot of us are able to be successful in that. Some people, as a manual tester, they've tried to become an automation tester and they failed. I'll tell you why they failed, and I'll tell you where they failed, so that you don't commit the same mistakes, and I will tell you what you can do better. So, but to be honest, only a few has been successful at this, and I want you to be part of this few. So, and this is why this particular course is structured. Okay, so for you to become automation tester, you need first, it's very, very important to learn the basics of testing very, very well. Very, very well. So the basic of testing, you need to know it very well. So basically, you need to know test approach. So, and I will advise you, if you are new to the platform, you missed the introduction to software testing, you can look at this on YouTube. Just search for Blue Sky Citadel on YouTube. You'll be able to see the introduction to software testing that was done. And then you can ask, if you have any other questions, you can ask as well. So I'm not going to go into great detail into what they've been covered at that particular course, but I'll try as much as possible to summarize most of them, and the techniques are going to be used in this particular course. So now, also know how to test an application manually. This is very, very important. So you need to know how to test an application manually before you can automate it. It is very, very crucial. So, and as well, principle of testing. You need to know what are the principles of testing, as well as test design and test techniques. I actually added these two techniques, which I think are very, very important, and we are going to be using them in this particular course: boundary value analysis and equivalent partitioning. If you don't know them, please Google them out. And yeah, it's easy to understand if you use examples. So, but if you don't know about this one, I would advise you to look up and then ask them. So if you have any question, please do type them we are going. I'll go back to check them. I can check them right now. So yeah, this is very, very important actually for you to be able to understand test techniques, and I've highlighted these two. So it's very, very important. And also, if you are going for interview, this is as well as very, very important. So another thing also is for you to learn about software testing. I mean, read about it, basically. Go on Google, Udemy. This course is a great one that you want to. Well, I'm going to tell you the content of the course, and I would also let you know what you are going to be expecting before, after, or during the course, actually, before, during, and after the course, what you are going to expect. So this is going to be introduction. So I want it to be more interactive. So if you have any question about this course, what's your expectation, what you're going to achieve, you need to say now. And as well, get experience, get knowledge, lay your hands on some projects, right? Work on them, right? So volunteer at a place. You have a place that you can make mistakes, where your mistakes will be corrected. You are not going to be fired. So it's very, very important for you to actually learn by making mistakes. I'll tell you quickly, when I started to automation, I was on a project and we were basically manual testing actually. So, and then I thought a friend of mine actually came. He told me, he said, Deji, I don't know whether he's on this particular program. I used to mention him. He said, Deji, there's this particular tool. That was 2008, actually. So he said there was this particular tool. It's called Selenium. And I know that you are very good in Java. Can you, I think, yeah, around 2008. Can you look at it for me so that maybe when you know it, you can train me? And I look at that, and I was comfortable where I was actually doing my manual testing actually. So, and then also at that particular time, I went for an interview. So because I'd switched to software testing from development, so I went for this interview. the interviewer asked me, and he said, "Oh, we saw that you got development experience in your CV, and you are applying for tester role, but we are looking for someone that can actually do some coding with testing, and also, has got testing experience as well. And do you think you can do that?" Oh, and I told the guy, I said, "Count me out." I am not going for development again. I'm comfortable as a tester, and I don't want to, get that pressure. But even though I told him, I said I still develop on my own, basically when I get home. So just to keep abreast with what is happening, but I don't want to do it at work. That was 2008, actually. I told him, and for that singular reason, basically, it means actually pricing myself out of of that particular job, because I was not given that job because I didn't even I didn't want to take it anyway. So then looking back, and I was like, that if I started that job, then I think it would have been so great, because it's kind of an experience of automation tester. But I didn't want that until my friend now came and said, "Oh, the Selenium is there. Did you? I know you can do it." Then I decided it's okay. I'll give it a try. But I was comfortable where I was, actually. So what I did was to now take a project on my own, the project for that particular company, but I didn't tell the manager. I did it automation, and I think I even started with Selenium IDE. We'll look at what is Selenium IDE actually. It's so simple, cool, but not a lot of coding. So then I kind of automated it later. So I think 1 month or two, I was confident I could do it, right? And because I've got like a prototype or MVP, what they will call it these days, actually. So, and I demoed it to the manager and said, "What we are doing in manual testing, I think you can even automate it." The guy was very, very impressed. And I said, "Oh, okay." Then everything now starts to come. But one thing I want to say is, like, for some of us that are doing manual testing, I will ask you to do the same approach. The application that you are testing manually at work, take one and start to automate it by yourself. Lay your hands on it, make mistakes, correct it. Do not be afraid. Start small. That's just the story I want to actually passing across to you. Start small. So don't look for big projects. You might do it on your own for that particular project before you review it to your boss or at work or someone else. But make sure that you don't just listen to this particular course, because I've seen some people, they come in, they listen, and they thought they knew it. You would, to be honest, you don't know it until you do it. Just do it, basically. Get some projects. And I also say, at the end of this particular course, we offer kind of mini internship. It's not paid, but so which will allow you to be able to lay your hands on some project to be able to do that. So, and I've got some mentors that are really, really great. So, but there are criteria for you to be able to meet the internship. We don't normally take a lot of people. So what we do is, like, we take selected few, maybe 10 or 15 testers, because we also take the BAs as well, and project manager or scrum master as well, who put them in different teams. So we might have like 5 testers, 2 or 3 BAs, and 1 or 2 scrum masters in a team. We give them a project. We have like that team, like 3 or 4 teams. They put them in that particular team. So as a tester, you'll be there to test. As a BA, you'll be there to write requirements, and the scrum master will be there to do their work as removing impediment and organizing the scrum. So please make sure you do something. Don't just listen without doing this. And I can tell you the tactics I'm going to be using also in this particular course. It's going to be very, very interactive. I've tried for the last session and I think it really worked. So it will be quick demo. I'm going to show you how to do it. Then after that, there will be workshops. So where I will be able to give maybe half an hour for everyone that I've tried it and it's not working, so try to fix it together. So, and I will go slowly so that you can catch up with me, basically, so that what I am doing, you can also do the same thing. But if you have any problem, any issues catching up, don't worry. The recording, the video will be there for you to catch up. But make sure that you catch up before the next class, because if you have more, if you are lagging behind, it's sometimes difficult for you to catch up after like 3 or 4 classes, because it's going to be incremental, and that's how it's going to be. So coding skills required. One, I said the first thing, familiarize yourself with basic coding concept. This is very, very important. And from what I have seen before, I can tell you, I have trained some people without any coding experience at all. People that are coming from social discipline or educational background or without any IT experience, and they are able to pick it up. But what I can say is, like, you need to be able to commit time and resources to it. You need to commit time to read, basically, and you might need to read. But what I can tell you in this particular course is I will start with a baby step. One thing I know, and I do it very well, is to break things down very, very simple. And that's why this course is not 3 weeks, and it's not 5 weeks. It's basically almost like 8 weeks, so that you can actually understand the concept of coding as well as automation. One, I will put a disclaimer here, because some people have watched my video and they said it was too long. And I can tell you, if you are looking for a quick fix, this is not a video to watch. This is not where to belong to. So basically, you might as well just log out, because I will take a bit of my time to explain all those concepts and all those principles. And I felt that software testing is a framework. It's like a jigsaw or a Lego. And once I'm able to explain those parts of the puzzle to you, you can bring them in together by yourself. So, and that's why I understand it as being a framework. You just need to understand those things that you need to bring together and then couple them together by yourself. So that is the concept I'm going to be using. So I'm going to be able to tell you what you need to do. Then we look at that concept for that particular lesson. And once you understand it, we'll move in. So that's why I said, if you don't understand a concept, please shout out at the channel. Make sure you talk so that I'm able to correct it. So like I said, also there will be workshop within the class. So please do bring your laptop, put everything in. So we're going to start as basic as possible from beginning. But one thing I can say also in terms of familiarizing yourself with coding concepts. So we have started to do coding in Java. So that particular course will aid this course, basically. For those guys that have attended that course, congratulations. Some of the things that I'm going to be saying will not look new to you. It will not be like gibberish, even though you don't understand most of the things that are done in the Java class. But don't worry, you would catch up, basically. So you would, if when I'm talking about classes, it doesn't look new. You've heard it before in Java class. Talking about method, it doesn't look new to you, basically. But however, I would still start afresh. I will still do the configuration setup of Java and also IntelliJ as well in this particular course. But if you already grasped that one, brilliant. That is impressive. So what I'm going to be doing also is sometimes sit back and ask some people to demo those process, basically. So like kind of in the workshop to say, okay, because it's possible that my system I may not have any issues, right? Because I've done it several times. If other people are going through it, they might have issues. So it's good to actually get those issues and also to demo it and for us to come together to resolve it. So it's going to be very, very hands-on actually in this particular session. So if it's okay. So now I would take time to ask question if there's any question. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So I'm going to answer all these questions now. Okay. Okay. So from Adenike said you want to ask if Cucumber perform the same function with use of data provider as parameter. I don't understand that question very well, to be honest. But if you mean that with Cucumber, can you do dynamic data testing, or can you parameterize data as we do in SpecFlow or whatever, or can you pass data into your test? The answer is yes. Yeah. So if it's data parameterization with Cucumber, the answer is yes. You can do that. I'm going to go through that actually in, I think if it's done next week, it will be 2 weeks. I will tell you something that you normally do before. Like today, I will start with setup basically. That's normally what I do, but I feel that it is not the right approach. So for today, you might not see any coding, and also for next week, it's not going to be any coding. So I'm going to start with BDD next week. So that's what, how to write your BDD, how to do your find element without having to complicate issue with setup and Java, so that you grasp that idea before we now start to say, oh, my IntelliJ is not working, my driver is not working. So that's the approach that we are going to be using this particular session. So are we using Java because it is more effective than C#? Well, the answer is we are using Java for this particular code. It is not because it is more effective than C#. It's because at Blue Sky, we do this yearly. So for the summer time, we do Java. For the winter time, we do C#. So for the last 6 months, we've done the C#, and we've finished that. So this is a new session. So, and it's going to be Java. But whether Java is more effective than C#, that is debatable, to be honest. So, but one thing I can say is this is as well debatable also. I think there are more roles in Java than C#. But I can also tell you there are less people in C# for automation than Java. So that is, but there are more roles, right? And for Java, and there are less people in C#. So that is my view, and like I said, it's also debatable as well. Is it possible to use inheritance OOP to write testing? Yes, the answer is totally yes. So that's why I said if you have done the Java training, congratulations, because we are going to be using all these principles of object-oriented programming, inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction. You are going to be using that. And then you see it more in actions. So, but if you missed that introduction to Java that was done, please do go on the YouTube of Blue Sky and you'll be able to see that. And they still have it on Monday. I attended some of them. Actually was really, really great, actually really, really great with examples. So, and I've also asked the tutor to make sure that they do workshops. So they are going to do workshop on Monday, so which is good. One thing I also want to say is I know for some people, even after attending the Java, it will still look like gibberish to them, basically. because they don't have any knowledge of IT or programming. So please don't worry. I can also recommend, actually, I do train teenagers in coding. So if you're interested, let me know. So it's basically going to the basics, actually, and tell, teaching them how to use the for loop, the if statements, how to use variables and everything. And it's been it's a many weeks of tutoring, actually. So you could also enlist or enroll for that particular course so that you can actually brush yourself up. And I think even there's one time I was actually teaching them variables. It was kind of low level and also nested loop as well. So, but if the teenager is also too complex for you, right? There's another level that you can as well go. To be honest, there's no shame in that. So I've showed this particular course to an adult before when we're doing the nested loop. Actually, this is for the kids one. This is kids under 5 to 12 that I do train in programming also. So basically, the motivation that you can have is like, if the kids can understand it, you should be able to understand it as well. So basically, it's kind of explaining programming to kids. And like, for instance, variable. What is variable? Variable is something that change during the runtime. So basically, like your pocket. So you have your pocket in your pocket, you have money in your pocket, and then your pocket becomes your variable. So then it changes every time because your pocket can hold maybe £5 today, tomorrow it can be £20, it can be £30. Your pocket is now becoming that variable that owes money. So as going to that low level, basically, and also using games for them. So if you are still struggling about the concept of programming, I can ask you to please enroll for those one as well. So let me see. Okay. All right. Thank you, Steve. So what are people who are new and don't have anything to practice with? Okay. So one thing, like I say, if you are new and you don't know what to do, like I told you about different ways right now, we have the Java, introduction to Java. You can do that. You have the, what's it called? We have the software testing. No, I mean, the kids one that you can also attend. But if you're talking about something to lay your hands on to practice, basically, during the course, I'll be giving you some exercises. So basically, so to go through, it's going to be more of practical. I don't do theories. I hate it actually, because after you finish, then you don't understand what you. So this is basically more of practical experience actually. So I will be going through those with you in practical experience. So what we are going to do in the class, if we can go back and practice it will be good. So please, can you bring link up to download material for this study? I don't know what you mean by the links. If you're talking about the videos, or yeah, it's fine. But right now, I've not shared any link right now. So, but unless the links I showed in terms of the, yeah, I'll be putting some of the links on here. I'll be putting some of these links here actually on the Blue Sky channel, so that you can be able to upload those information. And as well, we are going to be using, okay, sorry. So we are going to be using GitHub as well. I'll show you what we're going to be using as well. So yeah, so okay. Can I be an automation tester without first work as a manual tester? Okay, I think I've explained this actually. For you to become a automation tester, you need to know the concept of testing. And I believe that you can only know it by doing manual testing, right? And those guys, they've actually dealt with this particular concept. What do you need to do? How do you need to do testing? And what you need to look at for. This is what that particular course is there. But however, right, in this particular course, I will take you in a baby step thinking that you don't know. But it will be good for you to catch up basically on those things also. But like I said, I will assume that most of some of people here don't know anything about software testing, but I will take you on that step as well. But please look out for that particular video that they've done on introduction to software testing. Then you can actually get information on it. Actually, I missed 2 classes in Java. Can I catch up with it here? No. So you cannot catch up with Java here actually, because we are going to be focusing on using Java as a software tester. We are not it's not going to go into detail as they've done in the Java class basically. So we are going to use concept. For instance, if you are going to be using inheritance, we are going to be using it in the context that we are using it for basically. I'm not going to be explaining inheritance or polymorphism and telling you you have to have 2 integers, 3 integers, 4 integers, or how to call. No, it will not go in that level. But that particular concept that we are using, I will tell you, and I will tell you, okay, I might mention it and also refer you back to where you can get the information from. But if you miss any part of the Java, please just go and watch it. But however, like I said, I would pretend as if you don't know anything, basically. So, but what you're going to have here should be enough for you to be able to go and practice as a software tester, I would say. So, but if you have other material that you can use for you to be able to do that, so please lay your hands on them. What is the work of SQL? Can tester use SQL? Yeah, this is very, very important. Yeah, because you are going to be working with data, or might. In most cases, I would say you are going to be working with data, and those data are locked down in some databases. For instance, when you enter, okay, let's go quickly do a good example. Let's say I go to giphy.com. Okay, so done. So, and I click on sign in, right? Or maybe better, let me click on register. Okay, so if I feed the details in here and I click on submit, it's going to go into a database and save there. So for me to be able to test, in some cases, to ensure that this particular data is saved, I might in some cases need to search the database, so that I can be sure that that data is stored in database. But that is one way. Or I'll log in with this particular profile and ensure that I can see that particular information. So that for the answer is yes. Tester will work with SQL to be able to query database or do any activities on database. You can insert, you can delete, basically. Like this particular one, once you click on submit, it's going to be an insert. So if you go and then log in as this particular user that you've done, and then you try to update or delete or update your user, it's going to be an update statement in the code. So, and as well, when you now say I want to see that particular user, it's going to be a select statement that you are using. So basically, so that is how SQL is used. But in this particular course as well, we are going to cover SQL. That will be one lecture actually, and to be honest, is very, very detailed actually. So we are going to use SQL. We are going to cover SQL. Can we have Java installed in Selenium WebDriver and also install Java and use? Yeah, the answer is yes. Yes, you can have Java and also as well as C# on your computer. It's okay. Please, I'm interested. I have zero knowledge in programming. Congratulations, you're in the right place. But I can say, but it's not going to be easy. I but you need to work hard, to be honest. And I've seen people in your that got the same profile as yours and are able to do well actually in this thing. So you are in the right place, I can say. So can there be a separate arrangement for coding class you do for kids, for adults that have zero knowledge? I wish I could, to be honest, but I don't have the time. Apology, I don't really have the time, but I wish I could do it, because to be honest, even the one I do for the kids one, I'm really blessed actually. I can tell you, I learn from the kids. So, and when they ask, so right now it's basically kids by kids. These kids, they are the one that teach themselves. So I can say, yeah, if you're a parent in that particular class, you can sit down with your child and yeah, go through it. You're going to also learn from it, to be honest. So, but I don't think I will have the time to be able to do for adult apologies with one I have right now. So, but I will see what I can do if I have volunteers that would pick that up. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, I think that is the question. So I would go back to, okay. You don't need to worry about this, to be honest. So, but I just want to do quickly. We are going to be focusing on Selenium WebDriver. So, and basically, what is Selenium WebDriver, right? And it's just an automation framework that allows you to execute your test against different browser. And anyway, I will tell you quickly when Selenium started. It started with, I've told about this history. When I think was around 2008 thereabout, to be honest. So I can say I'm also part of the guys that started to use Selenium, to basically, even from Selenium, IDE, RC, and everything. So early adopter of Selenium, actually, I was one of them actually. So see, this is not Selenium IDE. I'll show you Selenium IDE maybe in the next 2 weeks. So see, it's basically this one has not got any coding at all. You just record and play. But when we talk about Selenium WebDriver, so Selenium WebDriver allows you to be able to code, to write your code in any program yeah, I won't say any basically because it's still restricted. So I think you can do Java, you can do C Sharp, you can do Ruby. I think you can also do Python. So that we're going to look into that. So to create your test script basically. But with Selenium IDE, you don't need any knowledge of programming language. You just record and play, and that will be it. So, and yeah, you can use any statement basically. So you don't. This is basically even coding statement that you just write it. So, all right. Let's go to this course. So in this particular course, you'll be able to learn how to install Java, right? How to install Selenium, how to install Cucumber. We are also looking to also do TestNG, which is a very cool tool actually for reporting and also to for your test runner as well. So it's basically very good as well. Of course, everything is sitting on Java actually. So I'm going to go through that. So normally this is what I do. I take each one of these individually and say, let's focus on Java. How do you install Java? We look at that, we install that. Then how do you also install Cucumber on Java? We look at that. How do you do your Maven installations? You will look at that. We install that Selenium on top of that. So it's going to be in those sections so that when you miss any area, you know where to go to, and also TestNG, how to put it on top and everything. So that is going to be the structure that we are going to be using. So the content, someone have asked this question, the content of this particular course. Yeah. One, of course, we're going to focus on TDD, right? And as well as BDD, basically. Using Gherkin, we're going to look at what are the things that inside the Gherkin statement, your feature files, all those Gherkin keywords. We're going to look into these ones actually. So in the introduction, so normally the second one that I put here is what I put in the first one before. I've kind of restructured it right now to say, let's first talk about the basics first before we complicate issues, and now talk about Java setup or Cucumber and everything. So we are going. I'm going to talk about the setup of Java later, not early, basically, like I used to do before. So in this part, we're going to talk about how to do the step definition, how to. Someone actually mentioned how we are going to do cross browser. Yeah, running the test in different browsers. That is also going to be considered. So, and yeah, the BDD concept is going to come first before this one. So someone already mentioned parameterization. Yeah, so that is what in terms of data tables in Gherkin, and also examples how to pass your data into Cucumber by yourself. So that also will be covered. Then as well, so you don't need to worry about, I think this is not Webdriver, it's going to be Webdriver because that's a typo, it's coming from C#. So yeah, we're going to look at Webdriver commands. So how to do different things, find elements, all those WebDrivers, how to use checkbox, how to drop down. We got a cool form that we've created that got every every element that you can interact with. So we're going to use that form so that once you're able to automate that particular form, you would be, I can guarantee you already cover like 80% of the application of the control or element that you'll be interacting with if you are going to be working with automation testing. So we also look at locations and XPath as well. As of course, we are not going to leave CSS. So this one, I'm thinking that we might have do this after the BDD because it's also possible that even for you to understand this, you don't need the coding. It's good to get the other simple one done first before we now say, okay, Java and everything. So I'm going to also look into that. How do you inspect your element? How do you locate that element using different locators and the likes? Then also someone also said, okay, I'll also be looking at switches, actually, how to use different switch, and also how to switch into frames, iframes, and as well as alerts. So we are also going to be using page objects as well. It's very cool, basically, to use page objects. We are going to use that. So I've mentioned about data driven using Cucumber as well, and example. So yeah, that is a plan. So as well, on this particular course, you have experience to answer some questions, interview question. There will be discussions forum. I've already sent the link out. So if you have any questions, do post it on that particular forum I've shared with you. Later, as we go along, there will be career fair and workshop. We've done one I think it was last month or thereabout. So where we're going to talk about the CV reviews, how to apply for job, and also some practical experience. I'll have time to even bring other guys in to actually talk about their experience and how they find it easy or difficult getting jobs. So that is going to be during this particular course. Like I also mentioned, there are also going to be internship after that. So, but the prerequisite, which is the career fair, is very, very important for you to do that. So, okay, in this particular tool, or in this particular course rather, like we are going to be using these tools actually. So Cucumber is number one, IntelliJ, TestNG, Selenium WebDriver, as well as Gherkin, of course, which is a part of the Cucumber. Azure DevOps also, some of us are familiar with that, and GitHub. So that is very, very important. So I think 2 years ago or last year actually. So we've started to ask everyone to upload their code to GitHub. So, and I'm also going to be doing that as well to upload every code that we do in the class to GitHub, so that at the end of the class you can be able to have access to it. But I know sometimes it's not. I didn't want to do that because it's easy for people to just go in there, copy and paste, and they think they've got it, so they don't get the time. Please don't do that. It's just for reference purpose. And I might change it so that it will come later, so that it will be uploaded. But please, this is more a practical experience, I'll tell you. So you need to be able to do everything in this particular class. So any question? Okay, someone said, what is timetable for kids? Okay, so timetable for kids, for the teenager is Saturday, 7 to 8. So, but yeah. Okay. Another question is, what is the importance of using Gherkin and Docker in automation testing? All right, thank you so much. Yeah. So for instead of using Jenkins, actually, we are going to use Azure DevOps actually for CI basically, and also for your content. So Jenkins, it's basically allows you to be able to manage your content, build and everything. So, and also to do your CI pipeline. So, and instead of, we are not going, this particular course will not focus on Gherkin. It is not, we don't have Gherkin as one of the tools that we're going to study. So it's going to, instead of Jenkins, it's going to be Azure DevOps. And as well, we are not going to also look into Docker. For Docker, you can Dockerize your environment. It allows you to be able to test your application in different environments. So basically, but this is also out of the scope of this particular course. So please, can I get the kids video? So unfortunately, there's no video for now. So apologize. I saw GitHub, which I'm used to as penetrating. Okay, that's great. Okay. All right, cool. So if there are no question, I'll just continue. Okay, so today is going to be just quick intro, to be honest, not lot actually. So what I can say, so what is cucumber? The first thing that comes to mind is that particular fruit that you have, that you eat. So, but in software testing, I would say it's an open source and collaborative tool for BDD, basically behavioral driven development. So, and the next question is, what is BDD basically? So this is just software development process based on which Cucumber is based on, basically. But this allows you to be able to write your test cases in a behavioral way. So it's using it in a given which is called Gherkin. So we're going to talk about Gherkin right now. So Gherkin uses some special keyword actually. So this is basically introduction anyway. So we're going to go into details about this in a, if not today, next week actually. So there are different keywords that you have to use. Yeah, one like given, when, and then. So for example, we have features, we have scenarios, and all those things. So and like in most programming language also, you have comments, you have keywords, you have all these particular parts. So it also supports that also. And but however, block comments is not supported. Like if you don't know what is block commenter, don't worry. I will just explain that as time goes on. So, and if you don't know what comments are as well, don't worry, disregard that as well. So when we start to talk about it, I will show you. So if I don't mention it, please do ask about it. So I will tell you what that is. But one thing that you need to know is basically helping you to write your code in English, basically, in a way that's understandable by human, basically, that you can go to stakeholders and you can actually see it. So yeah, I talked about some keywords as well. So feature, background, scenario, given, when, then. So we are going to look at this in great detail, basically. So that's what we're going to look at now. So, but one comment, for you to add comment to Gherkin, so you just need to use the hash actually. So anything that start with a hash will be a comment. Basically, you can write anything that you want to write. So we're going to go into differences between scenarios and scenario outlines. This is a very good interview question. So you need to know the difference between them. So when you say scenario and scenario outline, so then which one comes next? Which after scenario outline you have example, and in scenario you don't have examples. So we are going to look into this as well. So one thing that is also important is for you to know how you are going to be writing your features actually. So there are two ways of writing your features in Gherkin actually. One is imperative and declarative, depending on what your organization favors or what is written in your test strategy. This is very, very important. So because it's a discussion, an argument that's gone even in different forums to see how do I write my uh, test case on my Gherkin. Is it imperative? Is it declarative? So you need to understand what is the difference. So for imperative, you add lot of information. You go into low level and you put those details in basically. So, and that's what you're writing imperative. You put those information in. So, and you actually spell out every necessary detail as much as possible, I would say, to be honest, for you to be able to accomplish something. So you will go into that details. So the advantage of this is like when someone picks that particular step or the feature step, they can follow it step by step because it actually determines what you need to do. So you don't need anyone to actually tell you. One good thing that I felt is the importance or the biggest advantage is that then you can now use that particular individual step on its own without having to update the online step definition. At this point, you don't need to worry if you don't know what step definition is. Don't worry about that. So that's okay. But what you just need to know is like there are two ways to write your feature files. We're going to look at those two types, and you know that they're imperative and declarative. Imperative, you put those information in there, you spell it out, and it allows you to be able to reuse individual step without updating on the underlying definition. But however, too much information sometimes too it's not as important. It's not great also. Sometimes you lose focus of the story. So and then your feature becomes very big. Your feature file becomes very big. So, but you now need to look at which one outweighs the other. So say, okay, do I need much detail or I need less detail? So the other one, declarative, you write it in concise way, straight to the point. If an information is not important, you don't worry about them. So, and also you specify what you want to accomplish. You don't beat around the bush. You don't go and put information that are not necessary. You just go to this point and you just do it. So then in terms of the pros, yeah, it makes your code to be more readable, basically, and you have less step to write, and some it's easier, and I would say it's also quickly. It's quicker to identify and also to do because you put everything. But disadvantage is that sometimes it will be difficult for you to refactor because you have modeled everything together. Once a step changes, you have to go to an underlying step definition and you can change them. You have to change them. So you need to understand or to look at, oh, is that what I want, against putting those information in there at the first instance. So you need to understand. But in some cases, this would be agreed at the company level or what you are. So before you start your testing, you need to know, am I going declarative or imperative? So this is very, very important. Now, I'm going to ask for questions. So then I'll do a quick demo as well on what this. Okay, so a question is that apart from Gherkin, what other language can be used for Gherkin? I think it's in the other way around actually. So Gherkin is basically used for any cucumber. There's no other language. I'm going to show you right now so you know Gherkin just English basically, right? It's another way to say, okay, yeah, I want to write my things in English. So basically it's Gherkin. So if you are looking at, okay, apart from Java, right? So which other language can Gherkin also use basically? Or can Gherkin, apart from Cucumber, can Gherkin be written in other framework? Yes, we have Specflow that is with C#. So you have Ruby as well. You can write that you can use to interpret Gherkin as well. So that's what I can say. So okay, any question? So I can be able to, if there's any question, can. Okay, all right, let's say we are testing this particular page. So, and we are going to create an account. Okay, let me sign out 1 minute. Okay, so let's say we are going to register. So we are testing a page like this one. Let me just close this one. Okay, all right, cool. Can everyone see my screen, as in the two screens? Okay, cool. All right, cool, thanks. So now, let's say you happen to work with this particular company and they now ask you to automate or test their application. So you may be starting from registration. So, and if you are going to be testing it manually, I think maybe in the manual testing class, they might have gone through this with you. But like I said, I would try as much as possible to go back a bit and start. So for manual testing, you would be testing each of the fields. One, to say, okay, I need to test this particular application. So for instance, you navigate, let's say you go from the home page. Okay, from the home page, you click on create account. It takes you here. And then, sorry about that. So quickly, let's open Notepad. Okay, so in Notepad, you would, when you're doing your manual testing, right? Or let's do 1 minute. Let me open Excel. Okay. I don't know what that is. Okay. Let me try to. Okay. So in manual testing, right, you would have your maybe scenario number, expected result. Let's say actions. That you call it remark or result, and when you call it so. I need this to be close to that. 1 minute. Let me try to address this one. Okay. All right. So in manual testing, let's say you are writing, for you to be able to test this actually manually, so you would write a test case. So there are other tools that allows you to be able to do that. There are some tools that allow you to do this. One of them is Azure DevOps. So, or whether you're going to use version 1 or you're going to use Jira with Sapphire, whatever tool that you are using. But traditionally, I would just say, okay, let's say you don't have any tool at all. So let's just use Excel. So the first one, my serial number, my step 1. So number 1 was my action. So you will say maybe the first thing I did was to navigate to ifread.com. So what am I expecting to see? So I'm expecting to see ifread.com is opened successfully. So, and so that is my expected, right? So for my actual, I don't know yet until when I run it. So, and what I'm going to, basically, you would not have this when you start. You might have a requirement. I don't have a requirement right now, but that's fine. So if I have to have, you have a requirement for this particular registration. So maybe, okay, next week I'll try to show you a requirement. So you have a requirement to say, okay, when you get this particular page, this page has got first name. It's going to ask you, it's got last name, and maybe requirement says got email address as well, and it's got phone number. So it's going to list every field that this particular form has got. So what you put in your in your test case is number 2, maybe enter Okay, let me first add the title of that particular story. So my test conditions for those ones that understand what that is. So let's say this is my test one. Lead registration. So like I told you about the test design uh, techniques, I mentioned the equivalent partition and boundary value analysis. So basically, so if you are valid, and then we might also do test two. Maybe let me put it to the bottom here and say this is our test two, and that might be invalid registration test. So as you can see, this is basically equivalent partitioning. We've already partitioned our test into two. We have valid and we have invalid. So, and that is one of the techniques that we are going to be using. Now you say enter surname, enter, what's it, first name. So let's say first name. So let's say we continue from there, we fill everything, enter, and then let's say this is now, okay, it's not locked anyway. Let's quickly finish it. Enter number. Okay, you as well will fill the same thing here. So, and that will be it. So now this is your manual test case. So, and once you finish that, you would, once the application is ready and developer said, oh, we finished this application, registration is ready for you to test, you now basically, let's say you click on that. Let's go back to the home page. It said navigate to giftread.com. So you will do that and you say, okay, actual. So you might say as expected. So, and then you said, okay, all right. So click on that. Now there's a part that is missing here. So which I need to add basically, which is, so if I go back now, let's say click account. this one, I can say the registration form is big. So I'm going to, so let's say I finished my test case and I'm kind of now running my test, right? I would just go through this step. I've navigated to giftreach.com, click on create account, said I should be able to see registration form, which I can see now. So I can say, so that is now as expected. So I can put pass on this one, and this is as well pass. So, and the next one is saying I should enter first name, AG. So you just continue like that, and that will be watching it. Then once you are able to fill everything and you click on submit, you would put your details in. So this is in terms of manual testing, right? Now let's go to automation now, how to write our Gherkin. So I'm only going to be writing this in Notepad for now, but you will in future, maybe in the next 3 or 4 weeks, you are not going to be using Notepad. You are going to be using IntelliJ. Like I said, I just want to make it easy first, understand it first, because I know after we started, some people can't install IntelliJ because of that. They are not able to even write their Gherkin properly. So one thing I can also recommend that if you Google cucumber.io, you can as well check the documents. So if you go here and think on the resources, you can, Gherkin syntax. So you can get some information here. So it's very, very important for if you want to learn, introduction, 10 minutes tutorial. So please do go there for you to, So this is basically, so, and it's going to tell you what is Gherkin, what is Cucumber, so what's the step definition, but we still cover them anyway in this class. But if you want to be ahead, please look into this. So it's basically really good, actually. Okay, so one thing you can, as you can see, this is basically an example of a Gherkin statement, right? So we're going to write our hours now quickly. So the first one that you can see is like, okay, what's our scenario? So what we are trying to do now is convert this particular manual step into a feature step. So, and you can say this is our step, our feature, our scenario. So I'm going to copy that and put it there. So that's mine. So I can remove the test. I don't think I need that. So then, so we would have a feature at the top. So let's do registration. Another thing I can tell you is like, I'm not expecting this to be correct because I'm not using the tool. So, but when we're using the tool, you're going to see, when it's not valid, it's going to highlight it for you and you can be able to correct it. So, but it's good to be able to write it out. So sometimes when you go for interviews, they might ask you to even write it in a pen, to be honest, or write it in, just type it in a notepad. So it's very, very important to know how to do this. So so now the next one we have in the Gherkin is given when and then. So this scenario sorry, future, scenario, given, when, and then. Those are the ones that kind of you will have more in your code actually. So given, what's the given? Given, I navigate to givefree.com. That's your condition. So it's basically your what you need to do first to enter that particular state that you want your computer to be in, because you cannot actually start testing unless you are on that particular page. So you put that in your given clause. So for me, I need to be on that page before I start my testing. So you will say, given I navigate the navigate to givefree.com. Okay. So then when is your action. Like I said, given is your precondition, when is your action, then is your verification, what you are trying to confirm. What you are trying to confirm. So for instance, this might be your last part. So when you click on the registration, what are you expected to see? You can say the user is registered. So that is a simple scenario. Or you can say register and you can still be able to validate by logging in as a user and then confirm. So, but let's make it simple, leaving it as this. So what do we do now? So in our when clause now, so this is where it becomes interesting. You know, I told you about imperative and declarative. So let's try to first do declarative first, how you will write it when you decide to go declarative. So given you navigate, so in your when clause, when, so basically what are we trying to do here? So in giving you navigate, and so you can as well maybe not. So giving and navigate to the when I fill the form, you can say when I fill the form and submit. Okay, so that is declarative. So imperative, right? So now it's more like you said, we said it's got more detail, it's got more information. So you would put the same thing. If you are going to write this in imperative way, this is what you would do. The same thing, but now instead of saying giving and navigate to registration form, you would put that detail there, giving and navigate to giftread.com, and I click on create account. Okay, when, so instead of that, now you put that information. When I enter name and I enter last name and I enter mobile number and I so then the user should be is registered. So that is. Let me see if there's any question. Okay, good. There's no question. So if you have any question, please do type it. So yeah, so as you can see, imperative is got more detail actually. So and declarative less detail, but it's easy to write. Just write few lines, and sometimes it's also easy to understand. Navigate to the registration form, fill the form, and submit. Then you could also even do this actually if you want to make it an I submit. You can do that. Then the user is registered. So, but imperative, you have every detail, like step-by-step detail on that. So, any question on this now? So, so this is for valid ones actually. So you would have invalid one as well. So, and let's say we now have the invalid registration. So what could actually make this particular page to be invalid? So, and that is what you need to put in there right now. So for example is for invalid ones. So let me use the imperative approach, or declarative rather approach. So and say that is invalid registration. So when I navigate, that's fine. And okay, let's say I do this. When I go to the form, I enter first name and I submit the form. Then instead of that, an error message should be displayed. But that's what you're expecting. So for instance, if I say DG here and I click on register, so it should give me an error message. So yeah, so it should give me an error message. That's what you're expecting, if that's what. So once you are not getting that error message, that is a bug. So you can raise that as a bug. So that is that. So assignment for next week is for you to now write this particular feature statement, both in imperative and also in declarative. And as well, you need to write the all the invalid scenarios that you can think of in this. So then also try to write this one as well. So state in imperative and also in declarative. So which is feature instead of registration now, it's going to be feature signing. So let's write that one also. So this is where we're going to pause. So any question before we go? If some of these things you don't understand, you need to say, or you've tried it, you don't seem to understand. Like I said, this class is going to be more practical than what we've done before. So this is time and for you to ask question. I don't understand, or something is not right. You still got issues, you got clarifications that or something that you think I can answer. Okay. Uh, can we have two given as condition before then? Yeah. Okay. This I can tell you this actually. I went like in this particular class, I'll be telling you some examples and also some live scenarios and also interviews, case and everything, and even some of the questions that some of my students have been asked or myself also been asked. This is a good question. Can we have two given as your condition? So I'll tell you one of the questions that I was asked in an interview is basically what's purpose of having this particular keywords given and when, right? And then, so is it possible for you to have, don't let it confuse you. If you are confused, that's fine. I can address it later. So the question is like, is it possible for you to have when I navigate given I enter first name and I enter I number and just so let's say basically, or maybe better stay actually. So yeah, something like this. You, if you get my point, just like in 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 a different order, basically. So let's say this one, maybe this is a good example actually. So say if I change this one to then, and I change this one to given, and this becomes a when, and would this particular statement work? So I was asked this at the interview, that what is it going to work? The answer is yes, because this is just a name. Once your step definition is binded with this one, is if you already have a step definition that is linked to this particular step definition, to this particular step, and is on then, it's going to work. It doesn't matter where you put it. If you decide to bring this one to the top and you said, oh, maybe you want to do this first, and you put it at the top, yeah, as long as this is the step that you are following, then this doesn't make any sense. But however, not to confuse you, this doesn't make sense to the reader at all. So do you understand what I mean? So basically, these are keywords. To the computer, it doesn't make any sense. It's only English. So it's only the step definition that is at the back of it that makes sense to the computer. So if you have to answer your question in two ways, if you have this everything in given, your code will still work basically. Well, code is work, but it doesn't make sense to the eyes. It doesn't. So basically, giving and giving doesn't make sense. So that's where you need to write your code in giving when then. So if I need to propose to my student, this is the syntax I would propose, that you will have a given. Let's say you have given with that sentence, and if you want to have more given, you concatenate that with and. So because this becomes a given and this is another big given, you can have as many like that. So that means you have like 4 given, and when starts again, you can have as many when as possible. So you can concatenate them with and, then you start your then after that. You can have as many as possible like that. Hope that answers the question. So, okay. Do we need to have source code from developer of automation or just URL? Okay, so you don't need to have source code. This is a very good question, because for even sometimes some developer actually confuse it actually to say that, okay, when I'm doing my automation, do I need to send you the code? No. For instance, you can automate this site and you don't have the code from anyone, right? So we're going to go through that later, how you can do that. So you don't need the code from developer for you just need the URL basically, and that's it. Is it necessary to test negative scenario? Yes, this is very, very important. It is necessary, because it is not enough to test what the application should do. It is as well very important to also test what the application should not do. For instance, if your application is if you go to the bank and you said I want to withdraw 20 pound, the machine give you 20 pound, that's fine, it's working normally. But you also want to test that when a user uh, of the bank goes to the machine requested for 20 pound, the machine does not give it 30 pound. So if you are only testing what the application does, then it is not sufficient, because you also need to test what the application should not do as well. So, okay, so I should repeat the assignment. So the assignment is, now I have done the imperative and also declarative for registration. I ask you to do same imperative and declarative for negative testing. I've done the valid one, I have started the invalid one. So you need to, on this particular registration now, I've asked you to look at other invalid scenarios. If you want to accumulate, there are a lot of invalid scenarios that you can actually test. So you need to look at those invalid scenarios that you can test. So then as well, once you've already registered, try to also write a given when then for login, basically, if that is fine. How do we submit the assignment? So one, send your assignment to admin@blueskycitadel.com, admin@blueskycitadel.com. You can as well also submit it to on the discussion forum here, basically. So you can submit it on that discussion forum. I can pick it up from there. Okay, so the next question. All right, thank you, Jed. So can we use Eclipse instead of IntelliJ? Yes, the answer is yes. You can use Eclipse instead of IntelliJ, but I chose IntelliJ because this is also debatable. So because I think IntelliJ is now more popular than Eclipse in the market. So, and that's why I chose IntelliJ. So as well, you can use Eclipse as well. So if you are familiar with that. So, but in this particular class, we are going to be using Eclipse. Oh, sorry, IntelliJ. For example, you have your browser open first. I think that should be given clause. Then have a second given clause. I don't understand. So, oh, okay. Open your browser. Okay. All right. So yeah, that is also possible. Like I told you right now, this is where it becomes whether how detailed you want to go, right? Into whether imperative or declarative, actually. To say that, do I want to also put that detail, say, given I open the browser, right? And then I navigate to gift reach. Or so it's that, yeah, you are right, basically. So it's now open to discussion, to debate, to say, okay, do I want to go into that level of detail to say, given I open my browser? But I'll tell you, in most cases, you might not need to put that in the giving clause. You might put that in your before scenario, so that because every time you are going to be doing this for all your tests anyway, so you put it in the before scenario. We are going to look into that. What exactly does that mean? Yeah, but don't worry. So we are going to look at that. So because this is generic to all the tests, rather than putting it in your giving clause, you put it in your before scenario or before feature. So that test is going, or the step is going to run before any of your scenario is executed. We're going to look into that one. So okay, so still looks very strange as a novice, but following through step by steps. Yeah, yeah, of course it's going to look as very strange. That's from the feedback I had. I think in the previous session that I've done, you will have run away, actually, because the first thing we'll do is set up, basically. But right now we've not done anything than just playing with English, basically. So what I can say is, like, as long as you understand what we've done today, you are able to write this English, basically, it should be fine. So what you just need to do, if you are given a site, what do you need to do? For instance, it's not even given a site. If you are to use this particular site, let's just make it simple like that. If you are given this site to use, what will you do as a user? If they ask you to register, what will you do? So that step that you are going to take is what you need to write down. As simple as that. As simple as that. So if I need to register, what are the steps I will need to take? That's what we've done. So you don't need to worry if this is confusing declarative and imperative. It's only when you go for interview and they ask you which step, what is declarative and imperative. You won't be using in the code anyway. It's just theoretical information that I think might be necessary for you to have. So this is a weird question. That no question is weird or stupid. So I welcome all questions. So, but I'm a bit confused. Why do we have giving when? Okay, basically that's good. Uh, so in before BDD, right? So you will just write your code. I'll show you in the previous ones. When I first started doing this, maybe 7 years ago, I don't normally use BDD. So you would just write your find element and everything, and you put everything together. So it doesn't make your code to be easily readable, and you still use it also in some frameworks that doesn't use BDD. So your code will not. You have to go into the code to understand what it means. So now, because of that, users or people that are not techie or less techie are not able to understand what the code is actually doing. So that's where you bring another level or layer to your code to say that, to explain what your code is doing. So, and now to go back to say, why do I need to use the given, basically that particular word? Okay. So this particular word, they are keywords, basically. So to say that this is my precondition, it doesn't make any meaning to the computer. I've explained that, actually. So even if you put the then there or when there, it's going, your code will still work. But as a BDD approach, the approach is basically to write it in a given when then, given as your precondition, when as your action, then what you are going to verify. So it makes sense to the people that are hearing it in that sense, basically. So that is the purpose of having the giving when then. So, and what other question? Okay. So when do you use giving when then and when pause? I think I've also explained that right now. So giving for your precondition, what you need to do before your test starts, when your actions, what you are going to test. So then is basically your what you are validating. So for instance now, if I am a user here, for me to go to be on this particular, before I can be on this particular form, I need to navigate, click around. So as a rule of thumb, you put that as in your giving. When you are on this particular form now, the things that you do, enter username, last name, email address, that will be in your when. So how do you know that this form users is registered? Is when you click on the register and you confirm that maybe by reason that it displays a message saying congratulations, you are successfully registered, or you check. So that is going to be your then clause. That's how to differentiate these keywords. Okay. How do you join discussion? So yeah, to join discussion forum, you just need to go to that particular URL and join the link, and you should be able to get that. So okay. Do we need Notepad for the assignment? Yes. For now, I would say just use Notepad, or even if it's Word, to be honest. So for now, so just write it in the Notepad or Word. So Notepad is okay because it's light. That's fine. So that is okay. Can we have the link to the discussion forum? I have given that. So I can post this again into the channel. This, I think it doesn't. That makes sense. Okay, this is your new approach. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. So, uh, uh, yeah, I get better at this actually every year. So, if you watch my video for maybe 5 years ago and compare which I did last year, I think it's yeah, I get feedback from people and I try to improve it anyway. So thanks for the feedback. So please a quick recap on invalid scenario. So okay, so for invalid scenario quickly, I think my time is up right now. So invalid scenario is basically what are the things that you don't want. I'll just say like that. So, for instance, what would users will you do in there that you don't want user to register? For instance, now you want to user to put their first name, last name. Like you can see, all this where you have these stars means they are very important and mandatory. So, if a user does not fill all those mandatory field, then and he clicks on submit, then you should not be able to register. So that is you are testing an invalid situation. So basically, you are putting, you are, instead of you filling everything, you are not filling it. You are only filling a few and clicking on submit, and you're trying to ensure that it doesn't submit. That's the invalid scenario. Also, or you put an email that's not valid, like let's say you put something like that, and you click on submit, having filled everything. That's also another way. So there are different ways that you could do also. So I will leave that for you to find out. So okay. Can this slide be made available? Normally we don't give the slides out, because we've seen some people using the slides for different purposes actually. So, and the videos will be out, so you can actually watch the video anyway. So if that is okay. All right, if there's no other question, I think that's us. So we're going to meet again next week on same time, 8:30. So I would say it's 8:30, not 8 o'clock. So because I've got another training for the teenage ones at 7 to 8. If I'm not mistakenly from the story, we can write our test. Yeah, that's fine. You can write your story from your test. Yeah, I think that's fine, and put it in your Cucumber. All right, thank you so much for that. So next week I'll meet you again. All right, cheers.